best.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel here. It's Lavender here, and today I am back with a new true crime case. This time I am talking about the story and the disappearance and murder of Walter Ackerson Jr. story. This case has been featured in TV and media and TV, in Investigation Discovery Shattered. That's how I first found out about this case, so yeah. I wanted to tell this story because, not that many people know about it, and honestly, in my personal opinion, I think it was a blatant, injustice, honestly, on the police's part and on the investigation's part. So yeah, so let's get into this true crime case story. So here we go, about Walter Ackerson Jr.'s disappearance and his eventual murder. So yeah. So here's a little background on the victim, Walter. Walter was born in Kettle Falls in 1973, Washington. His parents divorced in the 70s, and he lived with his mother, Karen Hull. Walter disliked school, and he was bullied there a lot. Although his test scores were above average, he was frequently abusing alcohol and drugs and alcohol. In March 1990, Walter joined the Federal Job Corps program. His mother consented because she thought it would be a good for him. The students were supervised, alcohol was prohibited, and Walter could get his GED. He was reportedly very happy about entering the Job Corps and selected culinary arts as a career interest. Hull signed the forms giving him permission to go off-site on his free days for unsupervised trips. At first, Walter called his mother and grandmother on a regular basis. The last call was on March 20th. Walter told Owens, "This place is nothing like you think it is." His family never heard from him again, and he disappeared. Walter and three other older fellow Job Corps members, Troy Culver, Eric Ferguson, and Ganoff Callian, left the facility without permission and hitchhiked to Nye Beach. His friends stated that they last saw him standing on a bluff above the beach while they played football below. He then disappeared without a trace. The Job Corps wrote Walter off as just a runaway, although there were rumors that he had been met with foul play. Walter had been met with foul play. They didn't tell his mother about his disappearance until April 5th. Karen Hull asked them to file a missing persons report, but they didn't at all. Walter wasn't officially reported missing until April 16th. The Job Corps claimed they had left a message on the answering machine and sent a letter to Hull, Karen Hull, notifying her of Walter's disappearance. Neither of those things were true or rung true. Hull never received a letter, and Owens didn't even have an answering machine. When Walter's mother and grandmother confronted the Job Corps about their false statements, the staff admitted that perhaps they had not, in fact, notified them. Karen Hull was allowed to see Culver, Ferguson, and Callian. Culver apologized to Hull for Walter's disappearance, saying that he was responsible for Walter and felt guilty that he had run away. Emma Beller, who was said to have been Walter's girlfriend in 1990, told Karen Hull that she had heard that Calvert and Ferguson got into a fight with Walter and threw him off a bridge. Hull went to the police with Beller's story, but they never followed up on it, stating that Walter's body would have been found and washed ashore if the story had been accurate or true. Karen Hull returned to the Angelical facility to put up missing persons posters for Walter, but she wasn't allowed on the property, and it was considered trespassing. Culver stated Walter smoked marijuana and also claimed that he had taken LSD and had gotten drunk on the day of his disappearance. The investigation officer suspended the investigation for lack of any information to Walter's disappearance or whereabouts, and the case went cold. For years. Collian graduated, but Culver and Ferguson were both expelled for rule violations facility. Culver was readmitted to Job Corps in 1994. He admitted in his application that he had a drinking problem and could become violent when he was drunk. In 2001, Culver assaulted a woman and threatened her with a gun. He was charged with first-degree rape, but the charges were eventually dropped, and he pleaded guilty to third-degree assault and unlawful gun possession. He was later convicted of encouraging child sex abuse and sentenced to 21 months in prison, and was required to register as a sex offender after he was The investigation into Walter's disappearance was reopened in 2004. A new police officer on the force with Lincoln County Sheriff's Office in Washington, where Walter lived and had been reported missing to in the 1990s, tracked down Ferguson and Culver and interviewed them again. Both told the same exact story again. On August 2009, Calvert confessed Walter's murder to his parole officer. He made his statement after he joined a drug treatment program which required its participants to make amends for past wrongdoings. Colbert said Walter was drunk and complaining and whining a lot, and Colbert, irritated by the noise and him complaining, beat him until he was unconscious or perhaps dead, or close to dead. He, Ferguson, and Callaghan took Walter's body to the Uganda Bay Bridge and threw it off together, more than 100 feet into the water. When they returned to the job corpse, they agreed on a story to explain Walter's disappearance and their alibis. When police interviewed Callaghan and Ferguson about Culver's confession, they confirmed it. Ferguson stated he thought Walter was alive when they threw him off the bridge, but they weren't sure. On October 2010, Culver pleaded guilty to manslaughter in the Walters case. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison, to be followed by 3 years of probation. Ferguson and Callaghan both admitted to their roles in Walter's presumed death, and they both got immunity from prosecution for testifying. Karen Hull is also furious the case took so long to be solved. Furious that police assumed her son Walter was just another runaway, and that they just thought that's what he was. I think, and this is a quote from her, Karen Hull quoted, "I think the most shocking thing was the story that I had been told by a girl back in 1990, Hull told ABC News. She said that she had heard there had been a fight, and my son had been beaten to death and thrown off a bridge. The police never investigated or followed up onto that lead. They never talked to anyone about it. They didn't bother to investigate that lead at all." So if you guys like this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Bye guys, see you next video.